Hi, this is Brandy with Exploring Expression, and welcome to Check Out This Book, the series where I share some of my favorite books with you. And today we have one, it's a little bit different of a book, but um, it's such an interesting story, and the art is fantastic. It's called Dudley and the Toy Keeper's Chest, written by Patrick Algermisson. Dudley and the Toy Keeper's Chest. Are we ready? Now, you may know this, but then you may not. But there was once a gray toy keeper with a quaint little shop. In all the land over and well past the sea, no mender of toys was greater than he. But in all of the days which have passed 'neath the sun, he fixed many dolls, but made only one. He called the doll Dudley, an old family name. Every child asked for him, but they all heard the same. "Can I have the lamb there on your desk? I love my dear Dudley, so must deny your request." At night the toy keeper worked alone in his house, fixing toys broken by children, or by Silas the louse. There he is, fixing toys. Each morning the keeper would enter his store and find a toy broken that wasn't before. "I wonder what happens in here every night, that I always come in to find such a fright. For the thing that I know, but the keeper did not, is that one of his toys had a soul made of rot. Now, the tale I will tell may seem false, but was true. It might scare girls and boys, and it may frighten you." For when the toy keeper made Dudley last fall, he put all of his goodness into the lamb doll. And Dudley was filled with such pure, gentle love that he soon came to life with a soul from above. It is here that our tale begins to turn sad. For where you have good, you must also have bad. Even the keeper had some dark in his light, but only the goodness found Dudley that night. The darkness found home the first place that it could, a newly fixed wolf made of old rotten wood. And there in that wolf it festered and grew, till all of the darkness gave Silas life too. That morning the keeper awoke and he took all the fixed toys to his little toy nook. There's Dudley and there's Silas. The keeper, you see, well, he couldn't have known of the evil in Silas that had already grown. Silas was placed with the other fixed toys, there to be sold to wee girls and boys. Dudley was placed high up from the floor, on the counter where he could watch over the store. Days turned to weeks and months flew on by, and Dudley was happy with his maker nearby. But the keeper would leave him to go home every night, and what Dudley saw then always filled him with fright. For when the toy keeper slept alone in his house, that was the playtime of Silas the louse. One night a plush dog sat alone on its shelf, and soon was approached by Silas himself. Dudley squeezed his eyes shut as the wolf bared his teeth. Silas leapt at the dog and filled Dudley with grief. Dudley opened his eyes when his friend hit the ground, but was frozen in fear by a cruel growling sound. His gaze fixed on Dudley, Silas leapt in the air. Our Dudley thought quickly and turned his wee chair. The beast hit the chair and fell to the ground. And then Dudley heard a loud snapping sound. Dudley looked to the floor with a lump in his heart, and saw Silas there, with his legs snapped apart. Dudley sat and he quivered and felt heavy-hearted. Had his troubles now stopped or only just started? In the morning, the keeper returned to his store and found a new horror there on the floor. I surely don't know what there is to be done, but today I lost 2 toys instead of just 1. If I didn't know better, I'd think you 2 had a fight. Don't worry, my dears, I will fix you tonight. A chill ran right down Dudley's spine made of rag as the keeper placed Silas in the toy-fixing bag. Dudley knew that the wolf would hurt his dear friend, but how could he stop Silas and bring this to an end? So while Silas lay silent in his bag the whole day, Dudley sat and he tried to think of a way. And he sat and he thought till the store had to close. Then he shoved off his fears and courageously rose. He knew that his foe filled the bag 'neath the table, and he wanted to reach it, but alas, was unable. It was much further down than he thought he could fall, and he started to wonder if he could do this at all. When the keeper returned, Dudley fell where he stood, for if he were seen moving, well, it wouldn't be good. When the keeper walked past and lost Dudley from sight, the lamb stood and jumped with all of his might, and before the toy keeper could notice its sag, Dudley ripped open a pocket and slipped into the bag. The keeper went home and down the dark stairs. Then he lit his red lamp, and its light filled the air. He set down his bag and went home and went for some juice, which gave Dudley just enough time to get loose. And so Dudley hid while the toy mender toiled, and soon grim Silas looked completely unspoiled. Look, he's all fixed. The keeper continued to mend the wrecked toys, while Silas stared at him with sinister poise. I'll come for him, thought the wolf, and I'll find him in bed, and when he wakes up, he'll find himself dead. Dudley knew the dark thoughts in the wooden beast's mind, and he knew this was one toy he couldn't treat kind. The keeper worked late before he went to retire, so late he'd forgotten his lamp's burning fire. He soon was in bed and quite sound asleep, when Silas awoke and started to creep. Silas raged and rampaged and caused quite a panic, destroying fixed toys with a fury volcanic. Volcanic means like a volcano. But he suddenly stopped his horrendous uproar, stunned by one toy he'd seen once before. How is this dog back in one piece? It's mocking me now, and now it must cease. He leapt at the dog, but was stopped in his tracks, for Dudley emerged and knocked the wolf back. The wolf felt surprise and a small sense of dread when the lamb stared him down and shook no with its head. Silas swallowed his fear and crouched once again and leapt at poor Dudley with a sharp toothy grin. Dudley dropped down as low as he could, remaining unharmed by his foe made of wood. Silas shattered the lamp and slid across the table. He tried to stand quickly, but his legs felt unstable. He dared not to move, for his glue was not dry. Then a dim flicker caught Dudley's left eye. Uh-oh. The lamp's flickering flame burned deep orangey bright, and at once Dudley knew how to finish this fight. But that wasn't all that sweet Dudley knew, for what he had in mind is what Silas would do. And as much as he wanted to be rid of the beast, he did not want to be like him, not in the least. So he turned from the flames, but what to do now? Oh, if Dudley wouldn't end it, old Silas knew how. There they are. He lashed out at Dudley and knocked the lamb down, and soon began ripping at Dudley's wool gown. Dudley fought and he struggled and put up his best fight, but all was now lost to the wooden wolf's might. His teeth raked across Dudley's proud woolen chest, and all the lamb's beads poured out on the desk. As Dudley lay wounded on the bench, he looked down. He saw many things there on the ground. A mighty plush bear that once he did know, and a little toy house covered in little toy snow. There was a painting of a field all covered in flora, and a small wooden box that some called Pandora. He stared at the box, and like lightning he knew he would reach again for Silas. Then all this would be through. Dudley pulled the wolf over, never fearing the height. For all he knew was, this would finish tonight. Silas thunked in the box, and his legs flew aside, and though Dudley was weak, he closed it with pride. Only one thing was left till the battle was won, a turn of the key, and the locking was done. But the key couldn't stay 'cause of the evil inside. But in what sort of place could a little key hide? Where would you hide a key to that box? The keeper rose with the sun and went down his steps, and was surprised by the madness. Oh, what a mess! His toys were all scattered, his bottles knocked open. But what he saw next made his heart feel quite broken. Oh, my sweet Dudley, how and why are you here? What happened to you, my little lamb dear? What a terrible, dreadful, and horrid dark night. Don't worry, sweet lamb, I'll fix you up right. And the keeper fixed Dudley as good as brand new. But why he felt heavy, the keeper never quite knew. For he had a box at his home by his bench on the floor. But the key to this box now sat in his store. And that is my story, every word of it said, of a little lamb doll sewn with magical thread. Not the thread that holds his wee ears to his head. I speak of the threads of courage instead. He faced his worst fears, and to himself he held true. Sometimes that's the toughest thing for anyone to do. The end. This was Dudley and the Toy Keeper's Chest. So do you know where the key is? Where did he hide the key? I hope you liked that. It's a little bit different of a book. And until next time, I'll see you later.